Cool. All right, so you can go ahead and get into a comfortable seat. So I like to sit up on a block because my hips are kind of tight and I have a bit of compression. So I like to have that lift of my hips to kind of help kind of open the hips a little bit, get a little bit more expansion in that joint. But again, whatever feels comfortable for you, feel free to come into that comfortable seat. And if you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes, or maybe focusing on something in front of you that you can see. And just start to breathe, right? Like a normal pace of breath, like just taking some time to notice your breath a little bit. And you can breathe in and out through the nose, through the mouth, or a combination of the two. Just starting to become aware of your breath. If you hear the truck outside, I apologize. There's a dumpster being picked up. Trying to any distractions, or whether it's sound distractions or physical sensations distracting you, just acknowledging them and then coming back to your breath, right? And noticing as we keep paying attention to the breath, how it might shift and change. So you might notice that you start to lengthen your breath naturally, right? As we pay attention to it. You might notice your breath gets deeper. Noticing where in your body you feel your breath. Maybe you notice your chest rise and fall. Maybe you notice your belly filling up with air. But notice any physical sensations related to your breath. And on your next inhale, we'll start to add a little bit of movement. So lifting the chin up towards the ceiling or towards the sky. And as you exhale, releasing the chin towards the chest. So we're just introducing a little bit of gentle movement, continuing to move with your breath. So as you inhale, lifting the chin. As you exhale, releasing the chin to the towards the chest. And noticing how your neck feels. So if the back of the neck or the front of the neck feel like this movement is kind of tough or feels like a strain, feeling free to adjust. So you can make the movement a little bit smaller. You can make the movement a little bit more exaggerated. Just starting to notice how this little bit of movement feels. And then on your next inhale, as we lift the chin, we can reach the arms out, reaching the chest forward a little bit. And as you exhale, curving the spine, giving yourself a little hug, bringing that chin towards the chest. And again, making this movement comfortable for you. So if, exaggerating it just doesn't feel great, you can make the movement a little bit smaller. We're integrating the rest of the spine here. So really paying attention to how the rest of the spine is feeling with this movement, especially that low back area. Notice if you have a history of back pain, how this movement feels. Do you feel any pinching or kind of nerve-related pain? We'll take one more round. And then nice and easy, letting that go. I'm just gonna check and see. Then just noticing how your shoulders feel, how your back feels. Taking a breath or two. And then we'll start with our next bit of movement. So as you inhale, looking forward. As you exhale, just turning your head to one side, like you're looking at someone seated next to you. Inhaling, looking forward again. Exhaling to the other side. And again, just moving at your own pace, moving with your breath. Noticing how the gentle twist in the neck feels for you. Exaggerating it or making it smaller. And then whenever you're ready, we can integrate the rest of the spine. So as you exhale and twist, gently twisting your torso in that same direction. Inhaling through center, and as you exhale, gently twisting to the other side. Again, making this movement your own. If you feel like hanging out in the twist, you can stay there and inhale and exhale a few times before switching to the other side. Noticing how the twist feels in the spine. You can take one more twist on each side. Nice and easy, coming back to center. So we'll take one more movement in this kind of warm up. So as you inhale, looking forward, as much as possible, keeping the spine in alignment. And as you exhale, just shifting the head to one side, like you're bringing your ear to that same shoulder. And I'm starting with my right side, but you can start with either. As you inhale, coming back to that alignment of the spine as much as possible. As you exhale, shifting the head to the other side. Just again, moving with your breath. Noticing how this kind of opening of the side of the neck feels for you. Adjusting. And as you're ready, we can start to bring the movement to the rest of the spine. So maybe starting by just leaning the torso ever so slightly from side to side, just like you're swaying to some music or to the breeze. Maybe bringing one hand down and the opposite arm up and over. Just noticing how your side body is feeling. If you're noticing that your shoulders are still feeling a little tight, you can rotate that top arm a few times one way and then the other. Take one more stretch on each side. And then whenever you're ready, coming back to center. So I'm going to remove my block from my seat. I'm going to take my legs out long. So we've been sitting for a little bit, especially if you've been sitting cross-legged. So maybe shaking out the legs a little might feel good. Then we're going to get a little bit into the hips. So I'm going to bring my right leg, my right foot into my left hand, and then bringing my right knee into my right hand. I'm going to start by just rocking the leg from side to side. And as much as possible, having this movement be with your breath. So maybe inhaling as you open the hip a bit, exhaling as you kind of cross that foot over. I'm just trying to slow it down. So a lot of times we crank out these movements. We just want to flow. We just want to feel good. Just taking it slow might be helpful, might be supportive. Maybe taking the knee in circles one way and then the other. And then I'm going to cross this right foot over. And I'm going to hug this right knee in and gently cross or gently twist towards this top leg. Engaging those deep breaths. And I'm using my right arm as kind of a kickstand so that my spine can stay comfortably straight. It doesn't have to be, super straight, but just comfortable where I'm not straining it too much, but I'm also not, getting into that curve of the spine. And nice and easy, when you're ready, we'll come back forward and then we'll take it to the other side. So I'm going to take my left foot into my right hand, my left knee into my left hand. Just rock from side to side. Again, engaging the breath, moving with the breath as much as feels comfortable. Maybe taking that knee in circles to kind of rotate the hip joint a bit, if that feels good. And then again, I'm going to cross my left foot over my right leg. I'm going to hug this left knee in. I'm using my left hand as that kickstand again, and gently twisting towards the left. Again, taking those deep breaths. Noticing how your body is feeling. And then whenever you're ready, coming back, taking both legs straight. And then I'm going to push my heels forward so that my calf muscles are engaged. My knees are kind of engaged. I'm going to inhale, reach my arms up. And as you exhale, reaching towards the feet, but they don't have to reach. You can rest your hands on your ankles, your shins, anywhere that feels comfortable. If you want to hold on to your feet, you can. Getting a gentle stretch in the back. If you want to bend the knees a little bit to get a little bit deeper into that spine, you can. Deep breaths here. And nice and easy, rising back up. So we'll go ahead and come to tabletop. Make sure she's not in the waiting room or something. Okay. So we'll go ahead and come to tabletop. So coming to hands and knees. And if you feel like if you're on a hardwood floor or the floor is not like super cushiony or comfortable, you can use your blanket if you have one to support your knees. You can fold it up as many times as you want to support those knees and take care of our knees. And then we're going to come into a little cat-cow. So I'm going to turn so that it's a little bit easier to see the movement. So first we're going to start with a little bit of kind of alignment. So know that your wrists and your shoulders should be about in line. If, like me, you have hyperextension of the elbows, it might look a little funky. And same with the knees and the hips. So just about in line. And know that like your body is pretty intuitive about this kind of thing. So if it feels comfortable, you're in pretty good alignment. And then we want to make sure that we're not schlumping the chest, right? So we're not just like, you know, letting the shoulder blades come together at our back and like slumping down, because that's not great for the spine. So really pressing into the ground so that your shoulder blades are kind of coming away from each other. We're really expanding the back. And then from here, as we inhale, we're going to let the belly kind of reach towards the ground, still lifting the chest, looking forward. And as you exhale, curving the belly up, like you're trying to reach your belly button towards your spine, allowing the head and neck to release. We'll just take a few more rounds there, moving with your breath. So going at a pace that feels comfortable, maybe slowing it down, and really noticing how this feels in this lower back. So if you have a history of pain or compression in the low back, really creating that awareness around that area and making those adjustments, right? So if that means making the movement smaller, that's great. If that means really exaggerating, that's great too. But just finding what feels comfortable. And we don't want to have any kind of nerve related pain, right? So if it feels like it's something like something's pinching, then maybe ease up a little bit. But if it feels like it's just a muscle stretching and it might be not exactly comfortable, then maybe easing into that, like allowing that to be, knowing that our muscles will stretch as much as they can, and we're not pushing them, we're not straining them too much, but allowing them to stretch, allowing them to release. We'll take one more round, inhaling to lift, and as you exhale, release. And then from here, if you want to, you can keep the knees just how they are under the hips, or you can take the knees a little bit wider, kind of like if you're familiar with child's pose, if kind of having the knees a little bit wider, maybe towards the edges of the yoga mat. And then from here, we're going to come into an upper back twist. So I'm going to keep my left hand planted on the mat. As I inhale, I'm going to reach my right arm up. And as I exhale, I'm going to weave my right arm behind the left. And gently bring that shoulder down, bring the side of the head down. So I'm going to create a little bit of movement with this. So instead of kind of hanging out here, which is great, I want to move a little bit more. So I'm going to inhale again, reach that right arm up again. And I'm going to exhale, weave, come back down. And if you're flowing with me, if you're moving with me, let's do that 3 more times. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to release. 2 more times. Last time. And then here, once we weave that right arm behind the left, I'm going to bring that shoulder down, bring the side of the head down. Maybe this right arm, I walk it to straighten it out a bit. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. you exhale, gently unraveling, we can take a round of cat-cow here. So again, inhaling, lifting the spine, letting the belly fall as you exhale, curving the spine, belly button up, letting the head and neck relax, release. And then we'll take it to the other side. So keeping that right hand planted on the mat now. As you exhale, lifting the left arm up, or whatever the opposite is, right? If you're following along with me, my left arm is up now. And then weaving that left arm behind the right. So this time we're going to go 4 more times. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling, weaving that arm. 3 more times. Last time. And then I'm going to gently release my left shoulder down. Maybe straighten my right arm. Deep breath. Noticing how this side of the body feels, how this twist feels. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently unraveling, coming back to center. We'll take 1 more round of cat-cow, inhaling, lifting the chest, letting the belly fall. As you exhale, curving the spine, letting the head and neck release. And coming back to center. So I'm going to turn on my mat again. So from here, we're going to come into downward facing dog. And I'm going to move the blanket out of the way, actually. So from here, from our tabletop, so if your knees are wide, you can bring them back under the hips. And then we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog or an upside down V shape. That feels more appropriate. And then just pedaling out the legs a little bit. So bending one knee, straightening the other. Turn on my mat too. And as much as possible, pushing into the knuckles and the palm. So we're not trying to dump into the wrist. As much as possible, pressing into the fingertips, the knuckles, and the palm. So you're almost creating like a suction with your hands, and you're not dumping into those wrists. As we inhale, we're going to come into plank. So just shifting forward. And as you exhale, coming back into downward facing dog. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling to plank. So this is going to be the most difficult action. Exhaling, downward facing dog. 1 more time. Inhaling to plank. Exhaling to downward facing dog. We'll bring the knees down and we'll come into child's pose. So you can either keep the knees together or you can take the knees wide, sink the hips back, walk the hands forward a little bit, and bring the forehead towards the ground. If you want to put a pillow or a blanket underneath your forehead, you can. And just checking in with your body. We've moved a little bit now. So just checking in with how your body's feeling physically. Checking in with your breath. So especially as we're moving, as we're flowing, you might feel like you're holding your breath. So as we're sitting in this child's pose, just noticing, how does the breath feel? Is it able to flow? Does it feel like a struggle? Noticing how your physical body is feeling. And checking in with yourself compared to how you started this practice today. Maybe you're noticing layers opening, layers of tension. And whenever you're ready, walk the hands back towards the body. And then we're going to come to standing. So we're going to do a little bit of breath practice. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit so that you can get full body with me standing. I'll stand at the back of my mat. Perfect. So we'll come to standing, and we're going to do a breath practice. So pranayama is a really powerful tool for us when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling tired, when we're feeling heightened energy. So our breath, our pranayama, can really help navigate those feelings, right? So this 3-part breath is an energizing breath. So for me right now, it's early in the morning. So I want to feel that energy for the rest of the day. And sometimes when it's midday, you feel that midday slump. You want to have a little bit of energy, right? So this practice is going to be longer inhale, shorter exhale. So that creates that energetic practice. If you want to have more of a calming practice, you would increase the exhale, right? So shorter inhales, longer exhales. But we want to create that energy. So this is going to be a 3-part inhale and a 1-part swift, short exhale. So we're going to move with it so it kind of exaggerates that breath. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms out to a T. Inhale, reach the arms in front of us. Inhale, reach the arms up tall. Exhale, let it all out and fold forward. Again, inhaling out to a T. Inhaling, bringing the arms in front of you. Inhaling up. Exhaling. And if you find that three breaths in before you exhale is too much, you can do the 2-part breath too, right? So you can inhale up, and then exhale. So we'll do that 5 more times, going at your own pace, setting your own pace, your own rhythm. So whenever you're ready, just starting those 5 rounds. And if you lost count, that's okay. You can just keep going until you want to. And then whenever you're finished, or whenever you've done as many as you want to go, you can hang out in a forward fold. So after you take that exhale, just hanging out in this forward fold. You can bend your knees as much as you want to, reaching your arms towards the ground. If you have a block or a book or something, you can use that to lift the ground to you. If you're feeling like reaching the ground is a little bit extra today, you can put your hands on your block or your book or anything, right? Even if it's a pillow or something. Just taking a few breaths here. Maybe shaking your head yes. Maybe shaking your head no. Maybe walking the hands to one side, to the other. Maybe holding on to opposite elbows and just gently hanging out here. Taking in those deep breaths. And then whenever you're ready, starting to gently roll up to standing. So we're going to go nice and slow, like you're stacking your spine one by one, gently coming to standing. Maybe closing your eyes if that feels comfortable. We'll come into our mountain pose. Taking a few breaths. Noticing how you're feeling. So we want to constantly check in, create that awareness around how we're feeling physically, how we're feeling emotionally, how easy it is to breathe. Does it feel like a struggle to reach your breath, connect with your breath? And if it feels comfortable, we can gently sway the upper body from side to side. So you can take this movement slow. If you feel comfortable, you can start to speed it up. So what I like to do is I like to make loose fists with my hands and allow those fists to tap my kidneys. So I'll turn around so you can kind of see. Just allowing a little bit of tapping for the kidneys, almost like you're trying to wake them up. Continuing to breathe so we're not holding the breath at any point. And then nice and easy, starting to slow it down again. Coming back to center. Then we're going to take the feet just a little bit wide. And we're going to come into like a star pose to like a goddess pose movement. So you can bring your feet really as wide as feels comfortable, where you still have a solid foundation, where you still feel firm, you feel balanced, so you don't feel like you're wobbling. And then we're going to reach the arms out wide. So this is kind of our starting point, our star pose. You can look up towards the ceiling if that feels comfortable. And as you exhale, gently bending the elbows, bending the knees, coming into our goddess pose. As you inhale, reaching the arms up. As you exhale, gently coming into your goddess pose. We'll go 3 more times, moving with your breath. One more time. And then we're going to stay in this goddess pose for just a few more breaths. Let's say 3 rounds of breath here. And then nice and easy release. So from here, we're going to come into a low squat. So if you know that this is not going to be comfortable for you, you can come down to a seat. We'll meet you there in a second. But if you want to try this, feel free. You can also bring a block close by so that when we get into the squat, you can use that for support. So the way I like to get into the squat is bringing my feet a little bit closer together, pointing my toes out, my heels in, and then I bring my hands to my heart and I just start to bend the knees, allowing the torso to kind of shift just like an elevator. Gently bringing myself down, and I'm going to bring that block in to support me in the squat. Allowing the elbows to kind of open the hips so you're almost pressing the knees out as much as feels comfortable, letting the heart reach forward. So we're not, schlumping, and I'll turn to the side so you can kind of see. So we're not schlumping, right? We want to try and keep the spine straight and aligned as much as possible. Looking forward. This is a really great posture for the digestive system. Deep breaths. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, release. If you're using that block for support, you can release the block. And we'll come down to back to the mat. So we're going to lay down. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit so you can see better. But we're going to lay down. So finding, that version of laying down that feels comfortable, and you might want to bring a blanket or a pillow or something close by in case you'd like to use it. And I'm turning around on my mat so that it's kind of easier to see my legs, and it's easier to see my legs and what I'm doing with my legs. So I'm going to lay down. And as you lay down, just noticing right away how it feels to have your spine supporting you in this way. So much of our day is spent sitting, standing, walking. And if we're lucky, we get 8 hours of lying down. So just noticing how this feels compared to other ways that your spine supports you. Maybe bringing the knees towards the chest, and rocking a little bit from side to side. You can take the knees in circles, one way and then the other. And then bringing the feet flat. So we're going to come into bridge pose. So if you have a block, you can use that to support you. So starting by bringing the hands flat by your side, taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, starting to lift the hips towards the ceiling. And from here, if you want to stay here, this is great. You can engage the legs, engage the core to keep the hips lifted. If you want to use that block under the hips as support, you can. Whichever version feels more comfortable for you. Taking those breaths. We'll take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, removing that block if you were using it, releasing the hips to the mat, to the ground, maybe bringing the knees in towards the chest, rocking a little bit from side to side. And then we'll bring the feet flat again. And we're going to move a little bit in our bridge pose. So again, bringing the hands by your sides, flat, palms down. As you inhale, lifting the hips and reaching the arms up and over like you're painting your ceiling with your fingertips. And as you exhale, releasing the hips to the ground, bringing the hands back down by your sides. So we're going to do that 4 more times. Inhaling to lift, painting that ceiling with the fingertips. Exhaling to release. Moving at your own pace, your own breath. I think I have one more. And then whenever you're ready, release. Maybe taking the knees from side to side if that feels good. And we're gonna come into reclined pigeon pose. So we're gonna create a figure 4 shape with the legs. So I'm gonna cross my right leg, my right foot onto my left thigh, like just close to the knee. So I have kind of a figure 4 shape. I'm gonna lift that left leg and I'm gonna use my hands to support behind my left thigh. And you can keep that left knee bent, or you can straighten that left leg, whatever feels more comfortable. And then gently bringing that left leg closer to you, just to that point where you're like, okay, this feels like it's comfortable enough for me. Deep breaths. Taking one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently release, bringing the feet flat, maybe taking the knees from side to side. And when you're ready, taking that same shape with the legs on the other side. So I'm taking my left foot onto my right thigh, just close to the knee, lifting that right leg. Again, you can keep that knee bent or you can straighten it. Gently bringing that right leg closer to you. Again, just to the point where you're like, okay, this feels comfortable enough for me. Deep breaths. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently release. And take the knees from side to side. And then our last asana, or I guess second to last, will be spinal twist. So I'll give you a few options. You can bring both knees towards the chest and then drop them over to one side. You can take one knee in, straighten the opposite leg out, and then cross the single knee to the opposite side. Or you can straighten one leg, so you're kind of creating an L shape with the legs and crossing that straight leg over to the opposite side. Whichever version feels best for you today. Just getting a gentle twist in the spine. Taking a few deep breaths. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently coming back to center and over to the other side. You have those same options on the other side, and you don't have to twist the same way, right? You can take one of the other options for the opposite side. Again, deep breaths. Taking one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, coming back to center, maybe giving your knees another hug. And then we'll come into Shavasana. So a few options for Shavasana. You can go the traditional route, lying down completely flat. You can keep the feet flat, bend the knees, maybe walk the feet out wide, let the knees fall together. If you have a blanket, you can bring the blanket under the knees for a little bit of lift. If you have a chair nearby, you can bring the legs onto the chair again for a little bit of that lift. If you want to use a pillow, a blanket, anything to get you comfortable. And just relaxing in your Shavasana. Closing your eyes if that feels comfortable. Settling in. Letting your breath be like a wave of relaxation. Allowing the exhale to extend a little bit longer. If your mind starts to wander, letting it wander, not judging it. Just noticing where your mind goes, maybe gently bringing the mind, the awareness back to the breath. And then gently bringing your awareness back to the space. Maybe introducing a little bit of movement by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe taking a big stretch with the arms. And whenever you're ready, finding your way back to your comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Checking in with your body, checking in with your mind, noticing where you're at now. Maybe giving yourself a little gratitude, a little thanks for showing up today for yourself. Taking one more deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me stop the recording.